Well, Jesse, why don't you tell us, first of all, what took you to the Angela Calla mortgage team?
Well, to be honest, at first I had listened to CKNW, and I wasn't going to go to Angela Calla because I figured she was, a well-known name and would only deal with, the big accounts. And I had quite a small account, regular-sized, normal bank. And then I spoke to a family friend, and she happened to know Angela and said, "Oh, she's a wonderful young lady. She'll take good care of you." So I said, what do I have to lose? And, I never looked back, of course, because my experiences were great, and she got me into my place.
Now, when you say got you into your place, this was your first home. You are a first-time buyer.
Yeah, I actually got a down payment as a gift. I never thought that I would be in a position to buy a home. So I got the gift, and the first person I ended up calling was Angela Calla, and she helped me find a realtor. She helped me through the process of figuring out what I need to do to get a mortgage. She really went to the mat for me and helped me through every step of the way.
You had been looking in Abbotsford, but you did find a great townhome in Surrey. Tell us a little bit about that process. How was it that you went from Abbotsford to Surrey?
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, never even thinking about buying a house. I had dreams of a big yard and a big house that was all mine. And so I started looking at house prices, and I got pre-approved for an amount that I thought would get me a house. I started looking, and the only places that I could afford was Abbotsford. Now, that was going to be quite a commute for me, but we figured, for a house, why not? Then we went out to Abbotsford and started bidding on houses and found out that, for example, I would bid 20, 30, 40 over for a house for what they're asking, and we got outbid by $50,000, $60,000 from our bid. And they came in with no subjects and no inspections, and we really were not comfortable with doing stuff like that. So we ended up choosing to downsize from our dreams, a nice townhouse, and paying a little bit less and staying closer to home.
Well, there is that expression, when you're ready, you'll move up that property ladder.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we found a really, really nice townhome, and it was quite a bit of work, but we ended up getting it. And, it is kind of exactly what we needed. I don't think we were ready to buy a house for ourselves because we'd have to worry about the roof and the foundation, things that you really don't have to worry about in newer townhouses.
Well, you worked with an experienced real estate agent, one Robert Boies, as well. So that you had the A team on your side.
Yeah, I absolutely did. I didn't think I would get a team of the caliber that I ended up getting. Of course, like I said before, with my small account, I didn't have $1 million in the bank. You know what I mean? I'm just a regular working guy. And so, I mean, this is the only experience I have to compare to. So, I mean, if this is what everybody experiences looking for houses with Rob and with Angela, hey, looking for houses is kind of fun, but I've heard so many horror stories that I really lucked out.
Anybody who has looked for their first ever home, I think, understands the anxiety and the stresses that go along with that. So it's always nice to hear from folks like you, Jessie, and your wife, Alicia, that it may have started out to be a reasonably stress-filled search, but it ended just ever so well.
Well, it did. And, at the end of the day, we got something that was exactly what we could afford comfortably. It's exactly what we need as far as space and square footage. And, that what more could you ask for, right? And the service that I got was amazing, second to none. They really sort of held my hand, as it were, and got me through and helped me understand what exactly was going on when it was going on.
The process, I think, from what I understand you saying, Jessie, the process dealing with the Angela Calla mortgage team, dealing with a realtor like Rob Boies, the process became, I don't want to call it easy, but easier than you thought.
Well, yeah, and I've had friends who have looked for houses recently, and I've heard the horror stories, and I've heard all the, the nightmare scenarios. I've seen it on the news. And I really didn't have to deal with any of that stuff. Basically, I got calls when it was time to go house hunting, and we went and looked for houses. And, Rob told me what he thought, and if he thought it was good or if he thought it was bad. And I really put my trust in Rob when looking for houses because, he knew what he was talking about, and I really didn't. So, and at the end of the day, he found us exactly what we were looking for, even though at the beginning of the process, I didn't know what I was looking for,
Yeah, we have a tendency, I think, to have the house of our dreams, and oftentimes it can be either a lot less or a lot more, depending on what we ultimately find. But it's basically knocking on a few doors and going in and having a look and saying, you know what, I hadn't even thought of this. And that's where a very experienced real estate agent can help you find something that you may not necessarily at first thought about. And then, of course, there's the whole mortgage process, and I know that went smoothly once Angela got her teeth into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she just asked me for certain paperwork that she needed, and I got it for her as soon as I could, and then left it with her, and, one thing led to another, and all of a sudden I found myself signing papers. So for me, it was super easy. And, looking for a place can be so very, very, very stressful. And it was really like autopilot having the team that I had.
Oh, that's awesome, Jessie. Really pleased for you. The other great benefit, of course, now is that you are with the Angela Calla mortgage team, and they'll be monitoring your mortgage as the months and years go by, and they will map out a strategy for you and your wife and your family and moving forward. So there is that comfort level knowing that someone is always watching your back and making sure that you've got a mortgage that's working for you. And where there will be savings with consideration to that mortgage, you will realize those savings. And having said that, what advice would you give to our listeners this evening on the Mortgage Show here at CKNW? Anyone looking for a mortgage, what advice would you give them, Jessie?
Well, if I had to give someone advice, it would be go for the best first. Go to Angela Calla first. Even if you have a teeny bank account like I had, I didn't have any kind of spectacular money. And if I had made the mistake of not going to Angela Calla, I don't know what my experiences would have been like. So definitely go to the best first.
Well, so pleased that it all worked out for you, Jessie, and wishing you and Alicia all the best with the future. And we'll catch up with you down the road.
All right. Thank you very much.